considering the economic realities, facing us right now with insecurity, child mortality rates, inflation, and all these headwinds, we're seeing at this time, and looking at our population, how sustainable is this growth rate for Nigeria?
A 2.5% growth rate in our population, considering information that we have from the 90s. It has gotten to a time whereby Nigerians, we need to slow down, because currently childbirth female is about 4 to 5. And if you continue to grow at that rate, in no time, we will double our population. From information that we know, by 2050, Nigeria would have gotten to a point whereby our population will be giving us some challenges, because we'll have gotten to 400 million.
That's a big number.
By 2050. So if we are not careful, if 200 million people were complaining of food scarcity because of various issues that we're having, by 2050, we'll have doubled. And by God's grace, by 2100, that's if we are still available there, we will have gotten to over 700 million people. So that's gone to a point whereby Nigeria, we need to reduce the way we grow. Even countries like America, countries like India, countries like China, they are even now trying to decrease their population, because they've gotten to realize that in as much as population is a blessing, because you need people to work, but it's going to get to a point whereby you need to reduce people that you have around. And one of the things that Nigerians, as a people, what we need to do is, the government needs to sensitize the people the need for us to reduce our population.
What do you think will be the ideal number?
Well, I can't say, I wouldn't say this is the ideal number. In America presently, the ideal number of women per child is about 2. In China is about 2. In India is about 3. In Indonesia is about 4. But these are other countries that had a lot of population. China is leading, followed by India, then the US, then you have Pakistan, you have all this, then you have Indonesia, Pakistan. So psychologically, if you look at all these countries, the countries that we might think that we want to emulate or copy is probably the America or probably China. And the two are trying to reduce their population. Because the Americans' growth rates, as we speak, they're about 320-something million. The plan for the next 2-3 years is probably they're going to just have a few 100 million people. And their own plan is they're not going to get all these people from childbirth. They will get this from the migrants. So as Nigerians, we should start to think about how we need to reduce our population.
And talking about population reduction, that's actually the theme, of this year's World Population Day. And I'm also wondering, can't we leave this to nature to actually balance it?
Oh, Ladi, when you say nature, what do you mean by nature? See, the problem about Nigerians, because there are a lot of people that are jobless. See, when most of us get something to do, we have less time to do with our women. A lot of Nigerians are jobless or they are underemployed. So the only thing you can do is, after a while, you move near a woman. But when we are all engaged, there was a time I went to China. I discovered that in China, people leave their family for weeks because they've gone to work in other towns, yes, in factories. But in Nigeria, there are no jobs. So everybody's with the wife or with the concubine. So psychologically, the atmosphere is conducive for us to be fertile.
Right.
Yeah. But in other climes, whereby people need to contribute to the economy, you realize that a man has gone to work, when you are back and you are fagged out, there's nothing no attention your wives give you that you are interested because of your condition. But when the man has not done nothing from morning till night, he has more energy. So but I'm very sure when Nigerians have more jobs, when Nigerians are more engaged, when Nigerians are not underemployed, when people are naturally employed, there will be less time to really even
To procreate.
To profile our women. Because most of the reasons why we have a lot of people around is that both men and women, there is time. When we have less time, people will be less active.
So many
sexually.
idle hands.
Yeah, so many idle hands.
Okay, well, looking at this projection by the World Bank, for 2050 for Nigeria, saying we could hit about 400 million. Is there a possibility we could actually turn this to an advantage?
Well, it's possible. That's if we have a plan, a development plan. In Nigeria, we will discover that in 1960, Nigerian population was about 45 million. By 70, we were 54 million. By 85, we were 91 million. So that shows that within a space of 10 years, we move astronomically. We should realize that even all those time I'm talking, is not this difficult as the Nigeria we have now. So people need to know that the economy, its current situation, does not warrant us to have more children.
There's so much biting the disposable income.
See, people like us, I went to a private school, but I remember then there were a lot of people that went to public school that are even far better than I do now. But now there's no even public school that you can vouch for. So everybody, at least if you know the value of education, you try to send your children to private school. Then if you look at the cost of private school, an average private school in this neighborhood, probably it goes for, per term, probably it goes over 300,000, 200,000. If you are talking of the Ikeja, it goes to 1 million. How many? Then let's look at it. What is your take home? They're able to afford that sacrifice on your child. So you even discover that most of those people that have more children, they care less about them. And that's why they can procreate. Because if you are responsible enough, you know that anybody you bring to Mother Earth, you must fend for them, you must take care of them, and give them proper education. Then you know
how expensive.
Yeah, you know how expensive it is to maintain 1-2 kids. Talk less of 4-5 kids. So.
Right. And talking about this growth rate now, it also creates a lot of dependency, on the Nigerian economy, with this kind of population and this population not gainfully, employed. How do we, realistically make this population more productive?
I've told you, the population cannot be more productive when the existing people around are underemployed. I've already told you, if Nigerians are, if you have an employment a rate whereby over 80% of people that are employable are employed, there'll be less activity with women. People will have more time on their job. But as I speak, if Nigeria has a population of over 220 million, out of this 220 million, we have about children that are more than half. The people below 18, they are more than half. Then you have the aged, probably another 10%. So you only have minimum of 20 or 30% of that quantum that are working, that should be in the working class. And I tell you, out of this 20 or 30%, less than 5% have job that you can call job. Because if you live here and probably go to Ikeja and you come back with 20,000, I don't even know what that can take. So I don't think that's a job. So when I say job, I mean job. So it is the 5%.
Many are entrepreneurs these days.
No. What makes people to be entrepreneur is after you leave your formal job. Right. When you don't have anything to do, you say you're an entrepreneur. Most entrepreneurs are underemployed. This is a country whereby access to facilities as a loan, you don't have it. You cannot get your brothers, your sisters to help you because they are not surviving. In European countries, in America, people have family pool of funds. People have investments, bonds, in other things. Very few families in Nigeria have things that people can fall back on. So once you don't have, you don't have. There's no family support. There's no friend support. There's no support. Government don't support. Everybody knows that if you go to the bank and you take a loan, if you are not careful, that might be the end of your existence. So everything is harsh. So because things are harsh in this country, what we need to do is to systematically ensure there's employment. When there are people working, they will have less time for such activity. When people are working, they will even value money more. There are a lot of people in Nigeria now that they depend on what people give them. But if you are working and you know what it takes you to make a 10 naira, you value the 10 naira more than someone that's been given the 10 naira.
All right, but what do you think, this is a pre-election year, we have elections coming up next year. What should the next president be tackling, right now, or when they get there, to make sure that this population growth rate, we bring it to a good level and we can have, gainfully employed population?
Okay. I think what we have to do is, in this country, we have the Christians, the Muslim, and the traditionalists. I think it has gone to improve, and Nigerians believe so more in the heads of these institutions. For example, the Christian community, their prelate, their GO, people believe more in them than even the Mr. President. People believe more in the imam. People believe more in their leaders. The leaders need to start sensitizing people why we need to reduce childbirth by women. Because see, if we don't get these things done from where we can manage it, it will still be children galore. But if you can reduce it from our beliefs, because some people will tell you that no, my mother gave back to 5, so I must give back to 5. It's wrong. The mother gave back to 5 when Nigeria was very good. I'm not saying Nigeria is not good now, but the way we see things, we should be practical. So we need to reduce our sizes, and we have to start from the heads of our religious beliefs. Then they give people, so because if you don't do it from that way, if government starts to now make jingles, publications, people will go against it because that's when they will tell you that their religious belief does not support. And they should understand that bringing a child to the world is just one night. But fathering that child is a lifetime. Or even not just a lifetime. For anybody to train a child from primary to the university or to technical school, at least you are going to do another 20, 25-year program.
Right.
Just for a mistake of a night. So you need to think twice. If you cannot do it, please don't do it.
Oh, exactly. All right. Looking at our gross domestic product, grew by 3.11% in the first quarter, of 2022. That's a little above our population growth rate. So, what GDP would you say is ideal to actually cater to this growth rate we're seeing?
When we talk of GDP, you can benchmark it with. Don't benchmark with the growth rate because our growth rates, our debt rates, we need to match everything.
Right.
Our growth rates and debt rates and fertility rates, everything must be considered, not just the growth rates. For the GDP, what the benchmark I will be looking at probably somewhere above 10.
Above 10%.
Which is going to take a while. Because Nigeria is a mono-product economy. What everybody depends on now is still the petroleum products. But the government needs to expand our source of revenue to the extent that even human capital is a source of revenue in some countries. Yeah. We need to expand it, get people that are productive. Now, there's no big deal moving to ICT. India as a country have a lot of personnel that what they only do is they make money through the ICT and they bring in funds into the country. There's nothing stopping Nigeria to, it could be a 20-year program, a 10-year program, but what we have to do is, let it be compulsory. Let me say in the university, in the secondary school, people must learn ICT from the grassroots, and we should ensure that what we are trying to build is, between this and this year, we want to have so many IT technicians so that they can write programs and do things. Even, it might be that government might do it by subsidizing the costs. If the cost of normal admission to read other courses is 10 naira, government will say, okay, if you want to do ICT, probably you do that for 5 naira. And that will make people to do it because we know that we have a plan in the next 10 years, the next 20 years, that we get there. Because government should not just look at raw materials, mining. Human capital is something,
important.
yes, something tangible.
Okay, get more finished
Yeah,
products
finished
out
product
there,
from-
at this point. All right, well, the Happy World Population Day, I guess that's in order.
That's what we have. That's what we have now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ayodeji Onigbogi, partner
It's my
Escrow Wealth
pleasure.
Investment Limited. It was great having you on the program.
Same here. Thank you, Ladi.
All right, so after the break, we'll take a look at the state of consumer demand as inflation and shrinkflation bites. That's in a moment. To stay with us.